Which brush is better for your naturally curly hair, the Behairful brush or the Denman brush? I'm gonna put both of these to the test. For this video, I'm going to be doing two separate styling routines, one using the Behairful Professional Detangler Brush and another one using the Denman D3. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Gina and I make videos all about naturally curly hair in a simplified, easy to follow way for beginners. So let's first talk about the differences in price. The Behairful brush is around $35, but I do have a 10% off discount code. So it comes out to be around $32 with the 10% off discount code. And it can be purchased on their website. The Denman brush, on the other hand, is around $20 on Amazon, and you can also purchase this from the website, but most people tend to get it on Amazon because it's free shipping on Prime, and it's around 20 bucks for the D3 version. I also have the miniature version, which is the 5-row brush, which you guys have seen me use so many times on my videos, but I did want to pick up this brush because I thought it would be a more fair comparison because the D3 is just the original, it's the best seller, and it has more rows on it compared to the miniature version, which is the one that I've used for a really long time now. I wanted to do two separate hair routines to actually put them to the test and show you my full results, because if I were to just split my hair down the middle and do one on each side, I feel like that wouldn't be a very fair test because I have different curl patterns all over my head. So let's first start off with talking about the Behairful brush. So this brush is a detangler brush and you can use it for defining and styling your curls. So this one has boar bristles within the bottom layer, and then it also has plastic bristles within this top section. It has this oval shape to it and it has a ton of bristles. So this brush is going to give you a lot more tension on your hair. The way that the bristles are designed, it's supposed to help with detangling. I have used this for dry detangling when I'm doing my pre-poo treatments before I actually go in and wash my hair. And I've also used this styling my hair, and I've used it for refreshing. I will say that this is probably the best brush that I've ever tried for dry detangling. I have a whole video that I will link down below and up in the info cards about how to dry detangle your hair and why it's really important to prevent breakage if you have damaged hair. I definitely recommend trying it out with a little bit of oil in your hair. It's not as scary as it sounds. It's actually pretty easy to do, and I find it just to be a lot healthier for my hair, and I have a lot less breakage. So this works really well for dry detangling. It really just glides through the tangles, and I don't feel like it just breaks the tangles. You know, I've said in videos in the past, you know, if you have very damaged hair, if your hair is very prone to breakage, to only detangle using your fingers, because a brush is just ripping through them and breaking that knot off. Instead of, you know, when you're using your fingers, you can kind of work that knot off and separate it. But this one, I don't find that it is just breaking through the knot when I'm using it to dry detangle. I'm able to kind of work on the knot and get that knot out without causing any breakage. I haven't noticed any snapping or snags with this, and I go really slow because my hair is very prone to breakage. So I'm definitely paying a lot of attention to if my hair is snapping or snagging, and I haven't noticed that yet when I'm dry detangling. So now let's get into the actual routine. I'm going to be damp styling my hair, so my hair is towel dried. I'm just wetting down the ends a little bit that start to dry too quickly. Then for my leave-in, I'm using the Miche Hydrating Leave-In Curl Refreshing Spray. You can use this as a refresher, or you can use it as the first step leave-in spray. So I'm applying this mostly to my ends for some added hydration. Then I'm using the Behairful brush to comb everything through. I have to be very gentle when I'm doing this, although it does detangle really well. There's a lot of tension here, so I want to make sure I'm not snagging my hair, because you want to be very careful if you are brushing your hair wet. It does a great job at distributing product and creating clumps, but I do like to break up those clumps with my fingers. So now I'm going to be sectioning off my hair. I like to apply my products in usually about 3 sections. So I'm first taking a U-shaped section to start on the lower half. Now I'm applying my gel. This is the Bumble & Bumble Anti-Humidity Gel Oil. I've been testing this. It's a pretty thick gel, so if you have fine hair, I would not recommend this, but it works great for medium to coarse hair. So now I'm going to be using the brush to create ringlets. I'm first brushing the strand upward for volume, and then I place the brush right at the root, twist my wrist so the hair actually wraps around the base of the brush, and then glide it down. You can see the amount of tension that this has. It really grabs onto all the hairs and it pulls the hair around the edge of the brush. That beveled edge that it has is what gives it that ribbon-like curl. So now that I'm done with the bottom half, you can see all of the ringlets and clumps that I have. I don't like to create too many clumps. I like them to be a little bit more separated. Just because I have low density hair, it can just make my hair look very thin if I have too many clumps. So now I'm moving on to the middle section, doing that same process, first raking the gel through, and then we will create some ringlets. I find that there's two different looks you can get with this brush. So this strand here, I'm wrapping the hair around the base of the brush, which gives you a chunkier curl clump, so you get more of that clumping effect. You can also kind of finger twirl it if it doesn't want to curl up, or you can kind of separate the clump a little bit if you want some more volume. Another example in slower motion, so you can see this is how you would get a chunkier curl clump. So I am wrapping it around the neck of the brush, which gives it a more grouped effect. So you can see that ribbon-like curl. It's very smoothed out, which is nice if you struggle with frizz. The next method is where you can get more volume and more separation. So you would basically be pulling the hair through the entirety of the brush, so you get more of that separated look, and you're not actually wrapping it around the neck of the brush. If your hair does not want to curl up, try going in the other direction. I find that this side of my head around the hairline wants to go towards my face, so just try going in the other direction if it doesn't want to curl. Now moving on to the crown section. If you saw the video I did on how to cover your scalp, you might have seen some of these tricks already. I definitely recommend checking out that video for more information on how to cover your scalp if you have low density hair. But this area, I really like to focus on smoothing the hair up and back to help cover the back area, which tends to be thinner on me. Then I kind of pick up some random sections on the side to create some ringlets, but I just focus on pulling the hair up and away from my scalp for volume. Then, just like I showed in the video on how to cover your scalp, I like to just use a handheld mirror to check the back and make sure everything is placed properly, and then I separate some of those curl clumps with my fingers right at the root for more root coverage. So here's a look at my hair wet. I'm gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes before I go in and diffuse my hair. A lot of the clumps are separated, and that's just because I like more volume in the hair, but you could definitely keep more of the curl clumps if you have thicker hair and can do that. And these are my dried results. You can see how many ringlets that I have. It's so defined, especially right at the root, because I really focus on twisting that brush directly at the root, so that gives you more root definition. And here's an up close at some of the tighter ringlets on the front section of my face. As you can see, they're very bouncy. And I think that this size curl clump is ideal for my hair thickness. So they're pretty separated. I could separate these further now that my hair is dry, but I like to leave them a little bit clumped together just so I don't create any frizz. So some downsides to this brush are the tension that it has. So the first time that I used it, I really did not like it at all, honestly. I was cringing when I was using it because I felt like it was breaking my hair, but I realized that I had buildup on my hair. So if your brushes are not going through your hair at all, even when it's totally clean, then perhaps it's time to clarify. I don't remember what I used that caused my hair to have some buildup, but it was just not gliding through. I feel like it was breaking my hair, and it was just way too much tension than I was used to. Or it could also have been the fact that I was so used to using the Denman brush that I wasn't used to that much tension, and it kind of scared me when I was using it because I was afraid I was going to get breakage, because it is a lot more tension on your hair compared to the Denman brush that really just glides through with these plastic bristles that are spaced very far apart. Because of the tension, I think this is actually really great if you have fine curly hair or very low density hair, because it's able to actually grab onto your hair. Or if you have a very loose curl pattern. If you've used the Denman brush before and you feel like it just does nothing for your hair, like if you have wavy hair and you feel like it just pulls right through and your curl looks the same, then maybe you need something with more tension. So it's definitely worth trying out if you have not had luck with the Denman brush, because there's way more tension on this. One downside that I noticed to the Behairful brush is it does shed. So I have lost some of the bristles, the Boar brush bristles. So a lot of times when I'm rinsing it out and cleaning it out, I will see them in my sink. So now for styling routine number 2, we're going to be testing out the Denman brush this time. I am wetting my hair down just like last time, and I'm going to be using the exact same products, same styling method, but just using the Denman brush. So first, starting off with that Miche leave-in spray that I used during the first routine. And now I'm going to be using the Denman brush to distribute the product. I'm not crazy about using the Denman brush to distribute product because this brush is not meant for detangling. It does not do a good job at detangling, so I would not use this to comb product through unless if your hair is already detangled. So then I'm just combing through my hair using my fingers just to separate everything. And now I'm going to actually section off my hair the same way I did before, where I'm just taking a bottom section about an inch above my ears so we can focus on styling that bottom area. Then I'm going in with my gel and just raking that through with my hands. So now for using the Denman brush to create ringlets, I first like to comb through the strand to make sure it's fully detangled, and then I place the brush right at the root, twist it a couple times, and then wrap it around the hair strand. I was struggling a little bit, I will have to say. It wasn't giving my hair as much of a ringlet because it wasn't grabbing onto it as much as the Behairful brush did. I've always used the Denman brush though before and always really loved my results, but now that I've been comparing it to the Behairful brush, I don't feel like I was getting as many ringlets. So I don't know what that was about. This is the first time that I had tried using this brush. I had always used the 5-row brush before, so this was my first time using the 7-row brush, which I thought would give my hair more attention because it does have more rows on it, but I was actually getting more separated curls, which that's totally fine if that's the look that you were going for, if you're not trying to get too many clumps. Especially if you have lower density hair like me, you can see how much more separated the hair is. The other thing that I'm thinking that could have caused this routine to have a little bit looser curls is because I have been using this gel oil for probably 3 or 4 weeks in a row now. So it's a pretty heavy gel, so perhaps it is time to clarify. So if you notice that your curls are just not springing up, maybe you're using heavy products, maybe they're not able to bounce up as much, because normally my curls come out a lot tighter than this. So that could be the other thing. Maybe it's the brush, not sure, but my curls were just coming out a lot looser. So I was really having to work hard to try and get a tighter curl clump. So as you can see, after I finish combing the brush through, I do kind of spin it with my finger a little bit to help that curl clump form. But overall, it's just a little bit more stretched out. So we'll just have to do some more scrunching once we're done here. But you can definitely tell that it gives you a more separated look, and it just depends on how you wrap the hair and the size of the section that you pick up. So if you pick up a bigger section like this, you might get more of a curl clump, and it's a lot faster if you do pick up a bigger section. But if you pick up a smaller section, you're not going to get as much tension because there's not as much hair being pulled through the brush, so you don't get quite as much tension. So play around with the size of chunks that you pick up. So now onto the top section around the crown, I'm just raking the gel through, and then I'm using the brush to comb my hair up and away. I like to make sure to focus it back so that way the curls lay in the back and help cover the scalp more. Then I'm just creating some ringlets on the side. I wanted to do just one curl using the Behairful brush just to really test the difference here and see if my hair just had buildup or something, and I definitely got more of a ringlet. So the Behairful brush definitely worked to give me a tighter ringlet. Now I'm going to go over that same strand using the Denman brush, and it's just a little bit looser and more separated. So there's a good comparison side by side right there with the same curl. So now that I'm done creating ringlets everywhere, I just have some gel and water in my hands, and I'm going to go around and scrunch my hair all over. I did this same step too with the last routine, by the way. So here are my final results before I start diffusing. I'm also just checking to make sure the scalp area is fully covered, and I also like to make sure that the clumps are separated on the lower layer just so it doesn't look too stringy underneath. So here are my final results after my hair is completely dried. I like to wait just a little bit before I scrunch out the crunch. So this is when I still have a cast on my hair. So I like to wait a little bit, make sure my hair is completely dry, let everything set up, and then I go in and fluff and shake out the roots. I did this step also in the last routine as well. So here are my final results. I definitely have a lot of definition, but it doesn't feel crunchy at all. It's actually very soft with this gel oil because it does have those oils in it and it's not too crunchy. I definitely have a lot of definition in my hair. I have a lot of ringlets. So let's look at a side-by-side comparison, and then we'll talk about the pros and cons of each. You can definitely tell where the Behairful side has more structured, defined ringlets, whereas the Denman brush side definitely has more PC, voluminous ringlets, if that makes sense. So now let's talk a little bit about the Denman brush. So this has 7 rows in it. You can remove these if you wanted to get chunkier curl clumps or have less tension. You could take some of these out, so it is customizable. all you do is grab the bristles and slide it up this way. So the Denman brush is mainly a styling brush, so it's meant to use to distribute product in your hair or to create ringlets. But I've never seen anyone use this for detangling, and the nature of the bristles, it just seems like it wouldn't really do anything for detangling. It's not a lot of tension, so it's not going to cause as much breakage on your hair because it's not really pulling on it very hard. So the curl clumps to me are not as thick and chunky as they are with the Behairful brush. So the one thing I do really like using the Denman brush for is when I'm refreshing to detangle just a little bit. Like I will detangle a curl clump with my fingers first, so I'll kind of get the knots out first, and then I will use the Denman brush to smooth over that curl clump and create a more defined ringlet. Again, if I have a particular curl that's looking very frizzy or just needs to be redefined, I'll dampen it a little bit with some water, add a little bit of product, and then refresh with the brush, and I love using it for refreshing. The main differences that I would say are this one gives you ribbon-like curls to where the hair and the curl clump gets kind of flattened, and so it gets very smoothed and you get like that flattened ribbon-like curl, whereas this one you get a more separated look. So if you have very low density hair and you're looking to get more volume, then maybe this is the way to go. However, if you find that your hair just slips right through it, or if your hair is just wavy and you need more attention, then you would need the Behairful brush. So I hope that that kind of helps give an overview depending on which hair type that you have. It just, I think, depends on what you were going for. So if you were going for a more separated look and you don't want your curls to clump together too much, then go with the Denman. And if you want those thick, chunky ringlets and you want to have more control and more attention, and if this didn't work for you, then definitely try out the Behairful brush. If you're able to get both, then I think they're both great to have in your collection. That way you can really switch up your look. You can use one for detangling, you could use one for refreshing. So if that's an option for you, then I would definitely recommend it, picking up both if you already have one or the other. So whenever I'm styling my hair and applying my products, I still do shed. So I wanted to compare the amount that I shed between both brushes. I do find that I shed a little bit more when I'm styling with a brush as opposed to just styling with my hands. So if you're struggling with a lot of breakage or hair loss, I don't recommend using a brush at all to style because you don't want to make that breakage worse. But if your hair is on the healthier side, then you could definitely use either one. But if you are somewhere in between damaged and starting to get healthy, then maybe just stick with this because there's not as much tension. So that is my comparison between the two brushes. I'm going to link both of them in the description box down below, along with the discount code that I have from Behairful. This video is not sponsored by Behairful or Denman brush, but I do have a coupon code, which is an affiliate code with Behairful. So I hope you found this video helpful. I will be sure to summarize the pros and cons of both brushes on the blog post that goes with this video. So if you're looking for a written summary and a review, check out the link in the description box down below and you can head over to there, and I'll also have the links to the brushes down there as well. If you've tried either one of these brushes and if you have a preference, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Are you team Behairful brush or team Denman brush? Definitely tell me your thoughts, and also tell me which hair routine you think I got better results from. Was it the Behairful styling routine or the Denman brush routine? Which one do you like my results better with? So that's it for today's video. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to do so before you go. I would love to have you join my YouTube family, and I will talk to you next week. Bye everyone.